Right. I think our next speaker is here already. So she is helping businesses with all overall brand positioning, data-driven integrated and channel-specific marketing strategies, and also demand generation. She specializes in writing research-oriented SEO focus and value-driven content that ranks on page one and even on the featured snippets on Google SERPs. She will bring a topics about curating content strategy for e-commerce brand. This is Himani Kankaria, e-commerce marketing consultant from ICUBE.
Hey, hi. So, hello everyone. I hope you guys are enjoying the brilliant, brilliant talks we have so far. And I really enjoyed the Julie one as well. And before I quickly begin with today's topic, I would like to introduce myself. Well, I'm an e-commerce content strategist at ICUBE. I'm also a content-driven marketing consultant for B2B SaaS and IT companies. I'm humbled to be featured as the world's top 202 SEO experts by Search Engine Journal. You would be also finding me speaking at some of the great conferences like SEMrush, Meet Magento, Write-Up SEO, Whitespark, Local Search, Tea Time SEO, and many more. So because I know that today we have been fueled by brilliant talks, I thought let's come up with CNG for content strategy. And what do I mean by CNG? So C for challenge, N for need, G for gap. That's what we are going to discuss today for content strategy. Let's quickly begin with the challenge that e-commerce marketers and digital agencies face today. Number one challenge is that the industry is getting niche. Say, for example, earlier, we all used to wear, pure cotton t-shirts, pure cotton tees, right? Now it is like you have one more level in the cotton that, you will find brands that sell only Supima cotton tees, right? So it's like industry is getting niche day by day, which is creating challenging for marketers to, compete and sustain in the market. Another challenge that marketers face is that the drastic change in audience buying habits, preferences, and expectations. Earlier, what used to have is that a customer used to discover products from some platform, then they would research a lot, then they would compare it with your competing products, then some of the convincing marketing activities would help them convince, then there is the conversion happening, and then you delight them. Then again, the cycle happens from delight to discovery for next purchase. But now it has completely changed. I mean, right from starting the discovery of a product, then there is this research, then there is this comparison happening, then comes a social proof. The consumers look around what people are talking about your brand, your products, your services, right? So they look at those social platforms to identify how your brand is doing. Then they will do some more aggressive research. So that research would help them, will help us take them down in the funnel. Then we will do some of the activities that will help them nurture. Then the convincing part happens, then the conversion, and finally the delight part, right? So what has changed from earlier marketing to today's? It is the social proof, more research, and nurture. You have to invest a lot of there because discovery is easy, but the sections before convincing them is taking a lot of efforts for us. Another challenge that marketers are facing is that the platforms are flooded with too much content. If you go on search engines, like say, for example, if you look at the example that I have come up with, which is iPhone 12 versus 12 Pro, it's like a lot of people, a lot of websites have already published that particular content, right? So if you are someone who is promoting or trading or even manufacturing these or maybe selling these items, it is difficult for you to come up and stand on the page 1 of Google, right? Now, if I talk about another channel, it's like social media, right? Now look at, I mean, I just grab it from Instagram and it's like 3.3 million posts just for Apple iPhone. It's highly competitive today. So, you know, whether you take it's YouTube, whether you take, you know, Google shopping ads, whatever the channel you pick up, it is like all the platforms are flooded with too much content. Another challenge that we face is content creation is getting expensive, honestly, very expensive and even challenging. I mean, if you are in this industry for the last 5 years, right? So like you might have covered so many things by now, have to be unique every time, every day, right? So that is what is becoming very challenging. You pick up any type of content, it is getting too much expensive nowadays. So if we have these 4 challenges, we all know there is a need for a proper strategy, right? Let's discuss what the exactly need is. We all know that we need, you know, the content strategy, but having a content strategy is not enough. We need to curate it. Why do we need to curate it? Content strategy almost have, you know, I mean, all content strategies have vision, right? What you are going, I mean, what are you trying to achieve and by when? That comes under the vision part. So vision is already a part of content strategy. Another thing that you will talk about is direction. Based on the vision, you definitely have a plan or the roadmap that how and what you are going to do to achieve the vision, right? Next thing that we already have with the content strategy is the clarity, right? How, you know, who is going to do what, by when they are going to submit it, what will be the after process and everything, right? What's missing in this content strategy is the discipline. And that's what we are going to bring today here, that how we can be disciplined while, you know, creating content strategies. Let's quickly come up with the gaps part. This is the last part of our CNG for content strategy. And here we are going to see the gaps that we find while, you know, starting like beginning of creating the content strategy till the end, which is the monitoring of the performance, right? Number 1 is to define your ICPs, ideal customer profiles. You might have created buyer persona, right? While we work with, you know, the businesses, the e-commerce businesses, which are like in this business since say 10 to 15 years, right? They have their blueprint ready for buyer's persona. What is missing there is that these ICPs need to be documented as well as sent to the entire team. What happens is usually e-commerce businesses outsource digital marketing. They also outsource content creation as well, right? So how to make sure that each and every person in your internal as well as external team know to whom they are targeting and what they need to write. I mean, what they are going to market as well, right? So you need to define each of your ICPs in this way, and then you need to document them and share it with your internal as well as our external team, right? This is the template that we use internally at Ecomkida. You can, you know, copy and paste the entire template. It is just a Google spreadsheet one. So here is the link. You can use it and make the copy of it, and you can use it internally for your projects. Next gap is to mapping the journey. What happens is ICPs are defined, right? You have shared it with your team. Now the next gap is that for each ICP, you need to map their journey. How each of your, you know, ICP is going to be attracted. How are you going to attract them? How are you going to engage them? How are you going to turn them into your customers? What are you going to do to bring repeat business out of it? And also, what will be your actions that will invoke the brand advocacy, right? So these are the journey from for a prospect to become a customer and a brand advocate. You need to identify each of the journey for ICPs. Next gap that we need to address is the analyzing competition thoroughly across challenges. What happens is social media team is identifying their competition on social media. SEO team is identifying competition on SEO. There is no sync. What you need to do is you need to align all the team and make sure that you know what all the where all the challenges, I mean, all the competitors are coming up with what type of content, how are they promoting it, what are their graphics, almost everything, right? You need to make sure that you know the nerve of your competitor. Next gap is to bring your unique value proposition. I will call it a UVP. So how you can do that? You know your competition well, right? Even more than any other would know. So you need to do an audit of all of your competitors. Say, for example, one competitor has, say, these UVPs, right? Ease of selling or quality of the product, simplicity in their product. Another competitor might have some, they might be showing, like, if they are a 10-year-old company, they might showcase trust, they might showcase legacy, experience in this industry. How you can be different than them. It happens that, you might know what your USPs are, but what you need to come up here is what your UVPs are, because that's what will make you cut the noise and stand out in the market. That's what, once you've identified the UVPs, you need to communicate them effectively to make sure you are making the most out of your content investment. Next gap is aligning your sales, marketing, and content goals. Now, if you see here, first layer that talks about the sales goals, right? We might have sales heads in the organization that might be, coming up with their targets, right? So to achieve those sales goals, what will be your marketing goals? Obviously, the marketing teams to set up the goals as per the, goals set by the sales team, right? So marketing goals has to be under further brought as the content goals. For achieving those marketing goals, what will be your effort in content part, right? What all things you are going to work upon, whether it is, for increasing conversions, whether it is for, repeat purchase, whether it is for newly launched products, or whether you want to reduce the return rate. So whichever is your goal, you need to align them with your marketing goals, and those both goals need to be aligned with your content goals as well. That to achieve this sales goal, what will be your marketing goal and what will be your content goal to make sure you achieve both of these goals. Next gap is to setting up the content planner. What happens is usually people gets confused where they want to talk about, content strategy and content planner. What they think is that they both go hand in hand, like, setting up a calendar and setting up a strategy is equally the same. But exactly, it is not the same. It's like all the things that you have covered earlier, the gaps that we have covered, those are always missed out, right? Without that, you cannot come up with a content planner, because that will help you identify. If you will see in this example that, the sales goal is this, then there is this targeted ICP as well. Whom are you going to target with this planner, right? So that as well, you need to add in your planner. Then what all marketing channels you are going to target? I mean, what activities you would need to implement, things you would require, maybe tools, teams, the people who might help you, achieve your goals, who will do what and by when to publish the content, where it should be published, and you should also list down what will be your after publishing activities, because that's where you need to also assign the promotion team that this is where you can pick it up. We are done with the content thing, right? So that is something that talks about the content planner. Another gap is, what we feel is that because we missed out on the UVP part, right? Identifying or, coming up with a unique value proposition. Obviously, we are doing storytelling, but we missed out on considering and utilizing storytelling with the help of UVP, right? So that's what is missing. That's what we need to come up with. If you will see this example of Nike, it's my favorite brand. So in terms of, whenever they come up with some marketing campaigns, whenever they come up with certain messaging, it is very clear. Their UVP is just do it. They just talk about, motivational side. Then they just, their messaging would also say that you just do it. If you will look into this graphic as well, here it is what they are giving. They are giving you the action, right? Play inside, play for the word, right? So yeah, they are giving you the hint that just do it, right? Another brand I would like to address is the Tiffany & Company. I love the way they, create the content. I mean, not just graphics, but also the messaging that they put under all the, whether it is blogs, whether it is social media posts, like you see over here. It's like their UVP is to come up with love, right? They want to sell with the help of love as the emotion, right? So they try to come up with any kind of content with the love element in it. They sell jewelry in that, in that way, right? So we need to consider storytelling using our UVP more compared to just coming up and following the trend, right? Last but not the least gap is to monitor the performance at macro level. We all measure, right? We all measure, number of orders. We measure customer lifetime value. We measure, a cart abandonment rate, and so much more things that is just related to sales and marketing. But what we need to also identify is the behavior of the users. That's how you will be able to understand what all content is, clicking in the mind of your customers, right? Say, for example, if they landed on your product description page, what all, things they saw on the product detail page, whether they stopped at the how-to video, whether they stopped at your FAQs, what is happening, right? So I understand that, with the volume of audience that are coming into the website, like millions of websites, like say marketplaces or any other, furniture store you are, the number of audience doesn't matter. What you need to do is pick up the sample data and just go through them. Look how they behave on the website. You also need to identify how much time they spend on category and product detail page. You also need to understand which thought made them take a certain action. Say, for example, if they are on the product detail page, after looking into the how-to video, they straight away clicked on the add to cart button, which means your how-to video, which was that apt that they were persuaded enough to take that product into their cart, right? So that is very much important. What made them move within their buying journey? That's what the example that I just gave. From which channels, what pages, they come again, right? This is very much important, right? Say, for example, you also do the, you track the users, right? Which was the first interaction with them, what is happening, when it's like, when they come from social media, when they come from search engines, what is happening, right? So from where they come first, you need to also look at from where they came again. That's what we need to monitor the performance at the micro level. So those were all the gaps that we discussed today. Now the process is to eliminate the gaps in processes, right? So you might find these gaps, because of certain things, right? Whether you might be facing challenges in ideation maybe, or, the speed of execution is not up to the mark. The campaign needs to be prepared well in advance. Also, the execution is not taking place in the right direction, whether you have enough resources or not, whether you need some more tools, whether, you need to work on more quality. For that, if you need some more, more people, more tools, anything such sort of things, right? You need to identify the gaps in those processes to make sure you eliminate all the above 8 listed gaps. So what I believe is to overcome the challenges, you need to eliminate the gaps of your content strategy. And that's how you will be able to curate one of the best content strategies for your brand. Last but not the least, content is a game changer. you would need to practice, you need to evolve, and then you will be able to win the game. Thank you so much. You guys can follow me on my blog, Twitter, and the LinkedIn profile. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much, Himani. I think we have questions here for you. Okay. So the current challenges is to grab our customers, right? Their attention is actually getting shorter and shorter. So in terms of choosing wording, color, designs, definitely it's playing a huge part in the marketing strategy. What is the common mistakes that you still find in the practice nowadays?
What happens is, when it comes to design, it is like audience have started looking at the brands who are very creative. Even if you talk about, social media, whether you talk about the product detail page or the entire website experience, they want to see the website is being created for them. And because we all know that Generation Z is playing an important role in influencing the decision of other generations, we cannot ignore them, right? We need to come up with, designs. We need to come up with the language that they speak, right? Even if you will look at, social media, we need to follow the trend, what they are following, right? And also to make sure that we follow all of these. We consider all of the generations that is affecting our business across all the channels, whether it is, your blog, whether you're creating videos, whether you are creating tutorials, recipes, any such sort of things, right? Any type of content needs to be, created keeping in mind the audience. And also that reflects the design part as well. Yes. Today, the Generation Z and the millennials as well, they love the design when it comes to, it's like very simple, but very catchy. Like, they want to see products as if they're feeling it in their hands, right? So that's what the experience we need to come up with on our website. That's how, there will be the blend of design and the content, which will make it sure that, your audience convert faster.
Right. And I think also on top of that, the consistency issue where actually people are trying to explore lots of things and then they start to not really consistent with the message. So it's not really, it's hard for people to remember something that's changing a lot, right?
Right. And that is something, what happens is that because this messaging part, like I discussed about the unique value proposition, if that unique value proposition is, shared with all the team members, even the content creators and even the design team, they can connect it well, right? So what we are trying to do, what is our, UVP? So that has to be shared with everyone. And that is the gap we need to eliminate to make sure at least the messaging starts coming out right. What we need to talk about, to whom we want to, address. So that needs to come out really well.
Right, that's very interesting topics. I think we still have lots of questions from the audience. You guys can reach out to Himani or set up a meeting with teams from Ecom Kida in the launch room right after this. Thank you so much, Himani, for your sharing today.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a great day.